Welcome to Slasher Sunday. That's it. It's a wrap. We have now covered every single... Oh, we're not finished with this yet?
Wait, we're not finished?
We're starting.
Oh,
we're not
yeah.
finished. I should wait for the end to say that stuff.
Oh.
So this is it. The Bates saga comes to a close. We have now officially watched and covered every single psycho thing on this channel.
Yeah.
And this is our first time, both Kaylee and I, watching the 1987 made-for-TV 2-part pilot episode, Bates Motel, sharing the same name as another television series that we just covered. So this has like a 3.7 on IMDb. This is a very hated film. I had never seen a second of this. I thought that Lori Petty played Norma Bates. I thought Bud Cort played Norman. Oh, was I wrong?
Yeah,
Holy shit.
super wrong.
Okay. So, I think we should get this out of the way right up front so people can just click dislike and get off of this. Because I know that the general consensus on this movie is not favorable.
Yeah.
To say the least. Pretty much everybody hates it. Even when I posted about this a couple hours ago, people were like, terrible, whatever. I had a good time with this. I would totally watch more.
Yes.
Right?
100%.
If this turned into a television series and there was like a full season or whatever, or more, I would have 1,000% watched this. That being said, I will say this. I get it. Right? Like, this is a weirdly toned show.
It is.
Okay? Number one, and this is the most important aspect. The music is horrendous.
It's awful. The only times that I liked the music was when they were doing like the Psycho tribute.
Sure.
And like, but the rest of the time it's super campy and weird and like it's misplaced.
Yep.
And but as you said, like the tone is already so kind of like wacky that I feel like they were trying to make the music give it this like funky, like fun, I don't know, like
it's of the time.
happy-go-lucky, yeah, but it just doesn't work. Like if it had better music, I feel like people maybe would have responded differently in some ways. I don't know. It just depends, but
the film is also weirdly very like, what was the word I used?
Wholesome.
It's
super wholesome.
Yeah.
And
it feels. It almost feels like a wacky 80s sitcom to a degree.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know exactly what show to compare it to in the 80s, but it does have that kind of feel to it where Alex, okay, so Bud Cort plays a character. Let's get to the synopsis because I'm sure a bunch of people who are watching this have no idea what this is about.
Yeah.
So we have Alex played by Bud Cort. Bud Cort is an actor who played Harold in the movie Harold and Maude. And anyway, just so that maybe you know who he is now. He kills his abusive stepfather when he's a child. He goes to a mental institution for 27 years. From 1960 to 1987, the year that Norman goes. He gets put in the same asylum as Norman. Now, Norman's psychologist, or psychiatrist, he gets this like idea of, I'm going to pair these two together. I'm going to introduce them, and I'm going to make them befriend one another and make each other better.
Yeah.
And it works. Alex and him become like best friends. Now, this is all exposition. We see none of this.
No.
We see zero of it. Honestly, at the beginning of the movie, when they were doing like the news reporter, and it was like the black and white of Norman getting in the car and all that stuff, the news reporter had me really nervous.
Yeah.
Because his performance was so over the top and
Yeah.
so terribly delivered, and the production value looked horrendous. And I was like, oh no, do we have to sit through this?
Yeah, his acting was really questionable, and I was like, is that what news reporters were like?
Yeah, I think they were trying to like, not parody, but like
over-exaggerate,
yes,
kind of?
it was like sensationalizing the kind of sensationalization
Yeah.
of the media at that time, where it was like, you know, if you listen to those, like, remember like the old like, this just in,
Yeah,
like, you know what I mean?
yeah.
Elliot Ness and his man handled the night, you know,
Right.
that kind of crap, and you're like, what? That's how people fucking did the radio back in the day?
I know. It sounds so different from now, because like news anchors now have such a specific way of talking, and like
Of cadence,
the
yeah.
cadence, yeah, is really exact. And then back like what you're doing, like the radio broadcasting, is like all like transatlantic accents, and I don't know, the 80s, I guess, or I guess that's the 60s that he was in, but yeah, it was worrisome for sure, but that's. Honestly, the acting isn't bad, like, in this show. Like,
No.
I didn't dislike anybody's performance.
No.
I thought they were all really endearing.
Outside of the guy we mentioned.
Yeah, outside of him.
Honestly, that happened, right? And then we go and we see Norman get into a car and drive off. And I remember seeing the guy and was like, actually, it's a pretty good Norman look-alike. And then I looked it up, and this is Anthony Perkins' stunt double for Psycho 2 and 3.
Oh, that's cool.
So
that makes sense in that would look
I was like, oh, that's why he looks like it. And that is the only glimpse at Norman we get in this entire show.
Aside
is him
from
like
some photos.
Sure. So he gets into a car and he's driven off from the courthouse and he goes to the insane asylum, and then everything else is just exposition by the doctor, as we are kind of shown a couple frames of this and that. But no actual coverage of what he's explaining.
Yeah.
And then we go to Norman's funeral. So Norman is dead. And Alex, played by Bud Cort, he attends the funeral along with, other people in the hospital and whatnot. And honestly, it is for me 1,000% Bud Cort that makes this work. Because as soon as he came on screen, he has this very unique face, and he looks so vulnerable and childlike. And you could tell, like, oh man, this kid's gonna get taken advantage of. Like, it's gonna be tough. And he kind of resembles Norman in that way. He's got like that childlike nature to him, and Anyway, so he came in just that little like when he came in, he's like, I'd like to speak.
Yeah.
And he comes up and he's like, most of you know Norman as a murderer, but I know him as a friend. And like he had me. I was like, okay. I like this kid.
Yeah.
I like this kid and I'm rooting for him. And I told Kaylee while we were watching it, this is one of those movies where it's like supposed to be horror, which it really like almost never is. So it kind of worked out because this is one of those projects where we're watching it and I didn't keep telling her, but I told Kaylee, like, I just want Alex's business to work out. Like, I want things to go well for this guy. Like, I feel bad for him.
Honestly, just like the Bates Motel series, where the whole time we were like, oh, we just want people to be happy. Like, why do they have to be so messed up? Yeah. But yeah, Alex, like, he's a super sympathetic character. I mean, the only person he kills is an abusive stepfather that we never meet when he's a child, and like, is super sweet the whole rest of the time we see him. Like, he wasn't scary, like, whatsoever. And he is definitely presented not as being crazy, but as being, like, eccentric, really.
Sure. And repressed.
Yeah.
Sure. And like we'd hoped for, this really does, like, end very happy. Yeah, and like he gets his way and everything works out for him.
Yeah, I guess that's good, so that it's, we weren't like, no, he's sad and we'll never see the rest. But I definitely, when we finished this, was really bummed that there is no more, because I would absolutely watch more of it. I was a big fan of the tone and like just how weird everything was. Like, all the characters are so memorable. You know what? It kind of reminds me, it's not really like this, but it's like how Twin Peaks, like, all the characters are so, like, awkward, but, like, endearing and charming.
Yeah.
And very, like, over the top and bigger than life.
Yeah.
That's what this was like, too.
I agree.
Yeah.
That's a good comparison. I think Twin Peaks is actually pretty similar.
Yeah.
In a lot of ways. Yeah, I like that. This is like in the same universe.
Yes.
As Twin Peaks.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, I could see like Alex fucking like getting a visit from Dale Cooper. He like comes and stays.
Oh my god.
And he comes to the cafe and he's like, "You guys have a damn fine cup of coffee here."
I love it.
Yeah, okay. I could see that. And yeah, that's another thing, you know, I get why people don't like this. I do. I understand because there's no Norman, there's no Norma, there's no horror really, there's no killing, there's no like our main protagonist is not like some, because they set him up like he's gonna be, because that's what we said in the beginning. I was like, oh, so they're gonna set this up where he's gonna go to the house and then, you know, he's gonna start to slowly lose his mind and he's gonna start killing people, and they're like, oh no, because Alex at 0 points of this movie, none, is ever like a threat or even like suggested to be a threat. He's always
so
just
kind.
Yes, he's always just a super sweet guy who really wants his business to work out, is super awkward, and has this like hot chick around him. He knows nothing what to do with her. She keeps kissing him on the cheek or something, and he's like, and he like doesn't know what to do.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's almost just like she's like a big sister to him. He doesn't know I don't think he even has attraction.
No,
I don't think
like you said, he's like a child. Yeah. He's super innocent, and it is really sweet because it's like, you know, at the end of Psycho, Norman gets arrested, and this is like Norman, you know, and him bond, and like Norman like teaches him and like helps him so that he doesn't become like Norman.
Yeah.
So it is like a look, because like even, you know, in the beginning when we meet Alex, he has like a pet bird that he stuffed as well. Like there's a lot of similarities between them.
Sure.
And this is like what Norman would be like if he wasn't so psycho.
Well, it's funny too because like in the show, Alex has this abusive stepfather who puts him in a nut house, right? And it's Norman Bates who becomes this, you know, stand-in pseudo stepfather, and it's the literal psycho killer that actually reshapes another killer as a stepfather figure into being a better person. And it's because of Norman that Alex is the good guy he is.
Right.
So that's super interesting and something I would never expect out of this show in the slightest. No. I thought Lori Petty was going to be killed at some point. I thought that, you know, we thought for sure that once we got to the scene with like Jason Bateman and the girl who breaks into the other girl's room while she's trying to commit suicide and all that, we were like, oh, I was like, that's Norma Bates' ghost. That's Norman Bates' ghost, Jason Bateman, which would have worked because he looks like him. His name is Tony, like Anthony Perkins, right? His last name is Bates? No, his last name is Bateman. I was like, dude, this is okay. So the ghosts of Norma and Norman haunt the place, and then they're gonna like, but then it's all like very uplifting.
It is.
And like, it's not that at all. They're not Norman and Norma. We're jumping ahead.
I know we are jumping ahead. But yeah, like they prevent this girl from committing suicide. So what I like about what this show is going to set up, I think, is the idea that like different people are checking into the motel with different paranormal like activities or whatever happening around them and their visit. Plus all the stuff that we have going on with the house potentially being haunted by Norma Bates. Yeah. And I just thought that was such a cool premise, and it makes sense because like you have a motel and you're going to have people coming and going, so you can have so many different kinds of like interesting characters. Yeah. And I really love that.
This is kind of like the route to a degree. I mean, no, this is a stretch, but this is kind of like the route that the Friday the 13th series went with, where they decided to do this like cursed object. Obviously, they didn't do Jason. They didn't do anything to do with Crystal Egg or anything like that. They went down this road of like, we're going to have these cursed objects and we need to return them to where they were or whatever. And so you kind of get like a new supernatural flavor each week, like a X-Files, like a Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Monster of the Week show. But this was like, I could definitely see this show being, you know, different supernatural elements, mostly hauntings, ghost-related elements per week of like who's haunting the hotel this week and how are they affecting people. And sometimes they're for good, sometimes they're for bad. And like, you know, when that girl went to kill herself in the bathtub, I was like, oh, this is going to suck because I keep calling him Norman. Alex is going to get pinned with this. And it's like, Alex is trying so hard. He goes to the bank and he begs for a loan. And this dickhead like gives him this horrible loan and is totally trying to screw him over and Scooby-Doo's him later. We'll get to that. But like, I was saying when the girl went to kill herself, I was like, this is going to suck because she's going to ruin Norman's bit. Norman! God, it's so hard because we just watched 5 seasons of Bates Motel.
I know.
And I keep thinking it's Norman. Alex, his business is going to suffer tremendously because everyone's going to be like, that's the killer motel. The first night they open, there's a dead body.
Yeah.
Right? That would have probably been the smart way to go. That would have been the way that it would have added the drama and had people. And if you would have stuck to like the ghosts being like Norma Bates and Norman Bates and they're haunting the place and they're killing people.
Sure.
That's what people wanted.
That,
for sure. And I would have liked that too.
Yeah.
But because I like Alex so much.
Yes.
I was like, I don't want any of those things to happen.
I know.
I want him to I want his business to work.
Yeah.
So now, because he had a bunch of ghosts from the 60s and 50s come and stay at his hotel, did he actually have any money? Did their ghost money stay?
I don't think so. I
so when he goes to check the till?
Though. Yeah, I mean, there shouldn't be any money in there, but because of, like, the ending, like, they're now blackmailing the bank guy to give them better, like, loan schedule. So, you know, we can assume that they wouldn't have that money due right away, and it wouldn't be so much.
Sure. So,
but I don't think that there's anything. It's weird because like, what's her face? She's making food for the ghosts. Willie's making food for the ghosts. Alex is like interacting with them and serving them and everything. So like,
sure, the chick's making out with one. Well, she could have kissed one of them, but she's touching them and kissing them on the cheek.
And there,
100%.
But then they leave, so I don't know that they're gonna leave anything behind.
And the band.
The band's part of it. The band's another suicide.
So what did Alex think? They just brought their own band with them and I'm going to let them play in my joint?
I mean, he's so naive that, like, I don't think he would question it because he's just like, oh, it's all these, like,
he knows nothing of the world.
He doesn't. Yeah. So even I think the outfits, you know, how outdated they are. I mean, you could think it was like a costume.
Sure, and they're all like dancing the twist and
right.
Yeah,
but
they're definitely from
he might
the
not even,
60s.
Yeah, he might not even think anything of that, honestly.
Sure, I mean when he went in, that's what it was.
Right.
Right. So to him, when he went in, that was the style, that was the music, and then he doesn't know anything about the world. He doesn't pay attention, and he's very like. You know, idiopathic. And now, what would be the right word here? He's naive, I guess, but there's another word for it. Doesn't matter. But like him seeing that the styles and the music are the same, I don't think he would question it because he's kind of just like, oh, like this is how the world was when I left, and it's still like this. That's cool.
Yeah.
So, but we're jumping all over the fucking place. The music is horrendous. I can't say it enough.
The music is definitely the worst part.
Now, this was filmed on the Universal backlot. This is the house, the hotel, everything is the exact same. The changes and alterations they made to it actually stayed that way at Universal Studios till like 1993. So
Oh, wow.
they kept it like that for like 6 years.
With like the diner and everything?
I don't know.
Oh, wow.
But I will say, and couldn't get confirmation on this, so if anyone knows if this is true or not, please tell me. But I'm almost positive that the diner that is there at Alex's motel is the diner from Psycho 2 and 3.
Yeah.
It look, but it's right there. It's on the. You can see they're looking out the window of the place into the Bates Motel.
Yeah.
So I was like, was that where that was?
Mm-hmm.
Like, did they bring it over there when they were filming like Psycho 2? Like, was it that close? And they just showed where it really was, or what?
Yeah.
But they built like this whole. Like they had a fountain he had built on in this pathway.
I know, it's like
arch.
super cute. He made it like really updated, and having like a little diner there was a great idea.
I don't know how much money he was given.
I don't know either. Yeah, it looks like it seems like it was a lot, but
yeah,
I think he did a good job renovating it.
He did. I liked it.
And I like the contractor. I don't remember his name either.
Oh yeah, the black guy.
Yeah, that he like is befriending. Like I really just liked the three of them's dynamic, and I just was like so invested, and I want to see more of them. And I'm still super bummed that will never happen.
We're like one of like 3 people who wanted that.
I know.
And we're 2 of those 3 people, and the third person is probably Bud Cort, who did a bunch of push-ups for this role, I guess, as suggested by Anthony Perkins. Weird little tidbit of information there. And anyway, so if you didn't understand, Alex is gifted the Bates Motel in a will, and then he's released, and then he tries to find it, and he gets to town. This is a really weird scene. He gets to town and he's asking about the Bates Motel, and he runs into, I'm going to say 6 people in a row.
Yeah.
And every one of them's like, I'm new to town.
Yeah.
I don't know. I never heard of it.
Yeah,
new to town. I was like, it's the fastest growing city in the world.
Yeah, it is honestly growing though. I mean, they have like new developments coming up everywhere, and it's been so long. Like, it would make sense that there's like a bunch of newcomers in town.
It's
and, like,
great. It's really beneficial for him.
Absolutely.
Because there's all these new people, and no one knows what the hell the Bates Motel is. It's been 27 years, and you would get business. Now, obviously, it's not locals that are going to be staying in your motel.
Right, but like you'd get them like saying, "Oh, you should go check out this motel."
Unless they're like cheating on their wives or something. Right. That's about it.
Yeah.
Or their husbands. Come on now. That was weird. Then we get a scene which actually made me perk up, because you have George Buckflower and Carmen Philippi, Philppi, Philppi. Anyways, who I know from a bunch of stuff, but he's Reverend Jackson Sayre from Halloween 4, which is one of my favorite scenes. Kaylee has to listen to me quote that scene all the time. I can't help myself. I think it's so freaking funny. But they both play like vagrants and homeless people and whatever, and they're side by side, 2 homeless guys sitting next to each other, and I was like, the 2 stock bums in movies are both here in this one show. It's like, we need the ultimate, we need to make the what's that, the Power Rangers freaking when the Megazord, and they put together, like, they need the freaking homeless Megazord. They got to put like the famous homeless dudes together. So when I saw them on the bench together, I was like, what? Because you could just one of them, right? Usually they're like, we just need the homeless guy, and they're like, no, let's get the 2 homeless guys in each of these movies. In every movie. So I thought it was great to see. George Buckflower, of course, is like the homeless guy in every John Carpenter movie. And then George Philippe, or Carmen. Oh. Flippy? No, it's Filpi. Filpi. Yeah. He's been in so much crap. Wedding Singer, and I've seen this dude in 100 things, but yeah, I just I had to point that out, because it made me perk up when I saw him. And then, when he gets to the motel, Alex runs into Big Bird. And, under that costume, of course, is some pretty girl. Is fucking Hollywood logic. Yes. There's some hot chick squatting in your new house.
Yeah.
And she wants to be your friend. This is porno, script.
It's also like an anime too, honestly. That's how so many animes are just convenient.
Sure.
Here's a hot character, here's a romance, here's a best friend, here's a rival. So, yeah, I mean, it's Hollywood logic, as you said, but it's fine because I think that their chemistry is really cute together, and her character's adorable and very fun, and good for him to have around, because he's so meek and non forceful or confrontational, and she's kind of there to stand up for him and make sure he doesn't get taken advantage of.
While kind of taking advantage.
While also
of him.
sort of taking advantage of him,
but she's genuinely friends with him.
Yes, absolutely. I didn't get the feeling that she was trying to scam him or anything. No. She just wants a place to stay.
Sure.
But they quickly
it's a win-win.
Friends. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's a win-win, and I don't find anything malicious on her part. I do find that at first she's guarded. Yeah. Right? She's a homeless girl. She has a shit job. She's squatting in a house, right? She's a little nervous and whatever, and she likes to mask that with aggression and acting like she is tough, and we've seen this character plenty of times, but Lori Petty plays her well, and I did like how they bounce back off of each other because she's so extroverted and he's so introverted, and they make this really good odd couple. Yes. So I like that, and you're totally rooting for him. Yeah. The whole time, and you're like, God, I hope she doesn't turn screw him over and all. And nope, never does. That's it. Norma and Norman's father, Jake. So Norma's body is found on property. Yeah. In a casket, which is weird. Yeah. But I guess so. I don't know what they're trying to do with that because this is supposed to be like Halloween 2018 where we're ignoring everything but the first movie. Right. And it's we know that at the end of the first movie that Norma's body is in the fruit cellar. Sam comes, or no, I'm sorry. No, Lila comes and she puts her hand on the corpse. And it turns around, and then Loomis and Sam Loomis and Norman come in the room. So, but the cops obviously come and they find it. Mm-hmm. Her body is definitely recovered. Yeah. So why she's buried out in the front yard?
I don't know. I don't have any explanation for that at all. It's definitely a retcon.
100%.
She was just buried, and he was just dressing as her, or he buried her before the cops came, but in a casket.
I mean, who knows? Maybe in the future. Because they said, they were her body was never recovered. That's bullshit. Right. So they couldn't have really, they did retcon it. Because I was going to say, they could have done this thing where, some ghost or some Norman Bates fanaticist or whatever, dug her up and put her back on the property. Yeah. And he, comes and is I tried to preserve the Bates legacy or whatever. She should have been, buried. And maybe he brings Norman's body. He went and dug Norman's body up, and he's trying to bury him there, right? He's trying to bring all the Bates back together,
the family together.
Yeah, yeah. That would have been cool, but they kind of screwed themselves and shot themselves in the foot. But they never got another episode anyway, so it doesn't really matter. I just think that would have been cool for it to be how did this get here, right? But they're oh no, it's Norma. Because her body was never recovered. Yeah. And then it's Jake. And I'm okay, I don't know where you're going with that. Because that's just a straight up retcon. Mm-hmm. Now, Norman keeps seeing a woman in black. Now, I think this is probably the banker.
I do too. It definitely feels like it, but
maybe not.
I do wonder if there were instances when it wasn't him.
Because this reminds me, of course, and this came out before this. So this reminds me of Psycho 2. When Meg Tilly's character is pretending to be Norma to screw Norman up and flip him back to crazy at the behest of her mother. and so he keeps seeing her like around the property. And the same thing here with Alex. Mm-hmm. He's seeing a woman in black in the windows and whatever, but we have the same thing going on where this banker is dressing up in this costume.
Yeah.
Now, how Willie has this almost identical costume and is able to come out then, 2 minutes later, makes beyond 0 sense.
Yeah. He went to the same store.
Yeah.
She followed him. Was like, oh, I see you buying that costume.
Yeah. I'm going to get another one just in case and keep it in my backpack at all times.
Just in case.
Taped to my chest. Just whoosh. I'm ready.
Very convenient, but...
Very stupid.
I thought that I mean, it's super silly. The ending, the Scooby-Doo ending, but I also still, liked it.
Yeah, I did too. It's silly. It's very Scooby-Doo.
Yeah.
Now you've got a girl who's trying to kill herself, and she's like, we looked up the actress, she's like 39. She specifically points out, like, look at my lines on my face and whatever, like I'm none. Old. She's, for the kid that she's talking to, she's quite a bit older. I mean,
sure.
The actress is 39.
Yeah.
Jason Bateman is 18.
Yeah.
But when everyone starts announcing their death dates, I don't know if I heard the months correctly, so I could be wrong on this, but he's either 16 or 17.
Yeah.
So he's definitely underage.
Yeah.
I think he's 16. I'm pretty sure that's what I put together really quick in my head with the math, but I might have heard the months mixed up. But regardless, he's like 16 or 17 at most, and she's like 40.
Yeah,
and she's like trying to hook up with him. But hey, man, she's suicidal, and this is, and that's just it. Like, you think like they're gonna try to convince her to kill herself, or like, no, it's a very uplifting thing of like, we all killed ourselves, and they're all from different parts of the world. So it was like all the suicidal kids from the 60s decided to converge on this spot to save her from her death, a 39-year-old woman in a different state.
I know. It's so weird that, because, like, she's obviously not in the same age bracket, so I don't know what connection they have to her.
They're not even from the same state.
I think it's because the main girl that's trying to help her, the one in pink, that she came to the motel and killed herself there.
Sure.
Is what she was saying.
That's the connection.
That's the connection.
The one girl. Why she has like an army of buddies of suicidal friends. Because she talks about the cold and the loneliness.
I know.
But she also has like 30 friends.
Yeah, I'm like, it's not that lonely if you're all together. But you think that it's gonna be like horror, or that she's gonna, like, I thought, that she was gonna change her mind on committing suicide and then be killed after. Like, by somebody else.
Yes, me too.
Like, something was going to, either Norma or Norman's ghost or whatever was going to kill her.
Or they were going to, like, try to steal her body.
Yeah. And she's like, no, I want to live now.
Yeah.
But that didn't happen. Like, she legitimately just, like, has a change of heart.
Yep.
And, like, leaves really happy. And Norman's, like, all really happy.
Alex.
Yep. You got me doing it now.
Yep. I knew you were going to do it. I knew I was waiting for it. Like, she's going to call him out. She's going to call him Norman. Here we go.
Yeah. So, but wholesome. It was just, and it was feel good. But I think that, like, as we already said, people wanting this show to be horror when it was coming out were probably super disappointed. And
we're definitely disappointed.
It's understandable, with the expectation to, be something that it's not.
Yeah. And then, so Norman comes over. Norman.
Alex.
You fucked me up. I was back on track. Alex comes to the girl who's going to commit suicide, and he's like, she's like, oh, what a good day. And he's like, yeah, it makes you happy to be alive. And all. Yeah. It's like really uplifting.
It's so uplifting.
It's like, don't commit suicide.
Yeah.
Life is great.
And then the very end of him, like, looking at us, like, looking at the camera and being all Mr. Rogers. And just
he's like, why didn't you come and stay with us? Yeah. And it's like, it's funny because typically, with what the show could have been, or what we thought it was going to be, or what other people thought it was going to be, if you were to play the ending of this episode without the context of the rest of the show, and you were like, this is at the end of a Bates Motel show, people are like, oh, people got killed and everything. So the ending would seem more threatening, because he'd be like, why don't you come, like, he's like really
music,
sweet, and he's like, why don't you come and stay with us for a while, and this and that, as you said, very like Mr. Rogers-esque kind of. And it's like, no, like after what we watched, I'm like, I would come stay there. Like, I shouldn't leave this show.
Yeah.
Like, the way that people would have wanted this to go, that ending would have made me go like, yeah, right. I ain't ever coming there. Like, who the hell would want to go there? Right. But like when he was like, you should come down here and see us. Like, bro, I would.
Like, I would if I could. See you. Like, I want to visit.
Yeah.
I want to get one of them postcards.
I want to get some food sandwiches.
Yeah, some pie. Mm-hmm. Some of that meatloaf. Not me. You can have the meatloaf.
Make out with a 16-year-old ghost who committed suicide.
It was super cute. And the only other thing I'll really say is that I like that he like carries Norman's ashes around.
Yeah.
And like talks to him and is like, we're doing it. Like, we're making the dream
come
true. It was so sweet. And honestly, a great way to end our review of all these Psycho things.
Sure, because the Psycho franchise, especially Bates Motel, is such a downer entire time. Yeah. And the whole time you're watching Psycho 2, Psycho 3, you're always like, in the Bates Motel TV show, you're like, I just want things to work out. I just want people to be happy. I don't want Norman to get tricked. Yeah. I don't want him to fall back into madness. I just want him to be like, you know what? I'm doing okay. Yeah. And it's like the whole time you're like, this is such a bummer, man. These guys they're good people, because like they're not the typical killers. They're not Leatherface and the family that's like irredeemable, where you're like, fuck these people, or Michael Myers and Jason Voorhees.
Soulless.
But yes.
No.
It's not that at all. These are like really sympathetic characters that you're like, they have mental illness, or they have like backgrounds that prevent them from being able to, get a win. Yeah. And you've got like this, and you're like, I want it to work out, and finally it does. It's the funny thing to like end everything with. After everything we watch, we keep being like, we know it will never happen, but it would be really nice if someone could just get a win. And this show was just like Alex and Willie, and everybody's just like gets a win. The girl who commits suicide, like wants to commit suicide, she's like, no, I like life again. And you're like, this is so different from the rest of the franchise.
So different. And there's a line too that Alex says where he's like, oh, maybe it needs to be like flashier or something, like to attract more people. Yeah. And I wonder if like there was ever a plan for the robots. Like that would have been so perfect in this, that they like make robots, for Norman and Norma to like attract clients. Like I feel like that could have totally worked in this.
So at some point in the third Robert Bloch Psycho book, there's animatronics in the Bates motel. They like bring in animatronics, and the animatronics like start killing. That's like great. Westworld.
We haven't read it yet, but like we're going to.
Yeah, I saw the synopsis and was like, what?
It's so amazing. So, yeah, I mean, I guess the next thing that we will review, which won't be now, but at some point, will be the Psycho books, because I'd love to read them and talk about them on the channel, or maybe do them for a book club or something. But
well, we got to talk to our book club patrons for that.
Yeah, but we'll see. We'll see what we do with them.
And you might need to read that book at some point, because you got a week.
I'm almost done.
Perfect. All right, guys. Well, there you go. The conclusion. Now we're here again. I said it at the beginning. Now I'm saying it again. Yeah. We have reached the end. It is officially Saturday, so we need to post our Stephen King Saturday. But that's that. The Bates saga comes to a close.
Yeah. Very sad.
Yeah. Are you more sad about this coming to a close, or the Fast X?
What? Is that a question?
We saw Fast X yesterday.
We did.
I loved it.
Such a ridiculous franchise.
We were going to cover all the movies on the channel. I considered even doing like just a big, one video to talk about every one of them. We still might do that. We'll see. If you want to see that, definitely let us know. So there you go. Bates Motel with Alex, not Norman.
Alex and Willie and...
This is going to be
Other
one
guy.
of the only positive reviews of this movie online, and I'm proud to be that.
Me too.
Be that channel.
Me too. This is really cool, and
I'm glad I liked it.
I am too.
I didn't want to hate it.
I know. We were like, oh god, it's gonna be horrible. Everybody hates it. It's got such a low rating, and then we were both just like so pleasantly surprised.
Yep.
So yeah.
So that's that.
Yeah.
All right. We'll figure out what we're going to do next for Slasher Sunday.
Yeah.
I have no idea. Could be literally anything. So
yeah, I don't know.
look forward to it next week. We'll figure it out.